Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. And please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. Listen, there's a guy who sometimes here, sometimes he's not, super unreliable. But you know what? I got a pinch hitter to cover him because you know what? I needed somebody really good this week, and I got him, bro. I got him. Here he is.
I got you, bro. I'm preparing for duty right now. I'm preparing for duty. Jorge Medina here. I'm the creator and writer of Russ 5377 and The Adventures of Wonder Duck. I also have a podcast that comes on Tuesday nights live at 8 p.m. with my friend Sam Vera called Catch the Craze. I have my own YouTube channel called Get Your Meds, where I talk about writing, and a show called The Art of Comic Book Writing. And I'm here to, give JD some support. I have some questions ready, JD, so I come prepared, buddy. I got you.
There you go. I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate that, sir. And first person on. What's up, Chad?
Hey, how's it going, JD? Hey, George.
What's up?
Oh,
so please introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, so I'm Chad Perkins. I am the writer of Blue Lullaby through Marcosia Enterprises, and I am currently the writer on Set the Hook, which is live currently on Kickstarter through Catalyst Comics. So
nice. Okay. Next person up. What's up, Grant? How you doing?
Hey guys, I have to apologize because I think I've been calling you Jorge. I didn't know your name was George.
It's both. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm Grant Lankard. I am the writer and one of the artists of the comic book Beowulf. I also do a horror anthology called Memoirs of the Morbid. And right now, the project that is on Kickstarter is I'm collecting the miniseries for Beowulf in trade paperback form.
All right, cool. All right, Mr. Brian Rodman, man, we have not seen in a minute. How are you?
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm hanging in there. Hey, everybody. I'm Brian Rodman, author and illustrator of Memoirs of an Angel, the comic book series, as well as the Nebulizer, the comic book series. And I've been out of commission for a couple years now, but we're back launching the illustrated novel adaptation to Memoirs of an Angel, the comic. Excited to talk about that today. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, listen, Brian, we missed you, sir. We missed you.
Especially I miss being here, yeah.
Especially that glorious beard, sir.
Yes. Feast your eyes.
And our first time guest, Thane. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Hi, everyone. My name is Thane Benson. I'm the writer, creator, and artist of Quickly Clockwork Knight. I'm also the writer of the ongoing series The Mistakes with Maze Comics. And right now on Kickstarter, I have a project called Pyramid of Doom, which is a Quickly Clockwork Knight standalone graphic novel, and it's a choose-your-own-adventure graphic novel. So that's what I'm here plugging today. Thanks for having me.
Yep. No, I got you. We're all plugging something. So we're trying to sell something, make a few ducats for ourselves, right? So let's make that happen. All right. So look, I'm gonna start off, gentlemen. We have a show question, and that show question is, we're halfway through this wonderful year of 2024, and what have you gotten done? What have you gotten done? Grant, let's start with you.
Well, I launched my new comic book, League of Cryptids. I'm actually already done with issue 2 also, but that's not going to be on Kickstarter until later this year. And I've collected the 6-issue miniseries, and that's my project right now that's on Kickstarter.
All right, cool. Didn't you also go through Diamond for some books as well?
Yeah. I think we're up to issue 5. I guess I consider that more of a 2022 achievement.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. But yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Mr. Rodman.
Well, man, I haven't achieved much since 2022, to be honest with you. But I finally got a little bit of this health situation figured out, at least how to rest properly. And we launched Memoirs of an Angel, the illustrated novel, on Kickstarter. It's doing pretty good. We are about 2/3 of the way there. About $1,500 left to go. So, yeah, man, this has been something I've been working on for, little pieces here and there for the last 2 years. So, really excited to get it off the ground.
All right, cool. Thane, what have you completed this?
Yeah. So what have I done in 2024? That's the question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I have the current Kickstarter. I've done two fold-out comics, which I don't know how well this will show up on the screen, but I do these like oversized kind of newsprint comics. Oh, look at that! Grant's got one. Grant's got like a prototype. So I do these like fold-up comics that get like bigger and bigger as you read them. You fold them out.
Oh, those are
like
cool.
so.
I didn't know you did more.
Cool.
And they've gotten bigger too. They've gotten real big. So they're like these giant fold-out comics. So I've done two different ones of those. I've done this one, the Weird Woods, and I did one called The Monstrous Alphabet recently. I did another graphic novel, another Choose Your Own Adventure graphic novel called, I have it here somewhere, called Haunted Tower. So the Pyramid of Doom, these are all standalone things, but Pyramid of Doom is very similar in format and story to this, which is also Choose Your Own Adventure graphic novel. So I did that. I think that's everything I've done on Kickstarter so far. I mentioned Maze Studio earlier. I write a bunch of comics for them, and a lot of that is like in the works, but I'm like always working on scripts for them. I'm not totally sure what I can talk about and what I can't talk about, but The Mistakes number 5 is coming out soon, I think, so I can talk about that one. But we've got all kinds of graphic novels and ongoing series in different stages of development with Maze Comics. And I've been hitting kind of the local show scene circuit pretty hard for 2024. I've done a lot less. I used to travel a lot, all over the country for different shows, even up to Canada. But I've been focusing, I live in Denver, Colorado. I've been focusing a lot more on Colorado shows, like shows I can drive to in one day and drive home and sleep in my bed. So I've been hitting kind of the local show circuit pretty hard lately. And that's been good. It's been interesting because, you're tempted by these giant shows with, 50,000 people that show up. But like a good show with just like a couple hundred people that are all buying can be like way more profitable. So any like creators out there that are trying to get their work out, like check out the small shows. It can really be worth it.
All right, cool. All right, just to let everybody know, I'm in my wife's office. I don't normally work from here, and I have an African gray parrot in this room.
You got the bird.
I got the bird, and sometimes he'll start talking for no reason, like just reason he's just saying hello. For whatever reason, I don't know. Einstein, that's his name. All right, Chad. So, what have you been up to? What have you accomplished this year so far?
I was able to crush an entire case of beer in like a day. So it was awesome.
That's it? It should have been an hour.
All right, so I haven't accomplished anything this year. No, so I finally decided after taking a brief hiatus for about 6 months, I launched Set the Hook, which is my second Kickstarter. Currently about a man who's very angry at a fish, and I'm currently doing a couple of shows in the fall. I have Motor City Nightmares in like a couple of weeks, and then I have one other show coming up. And what else do I have going on? I have one other project that I'm currently in the talks with Timothy Fling and Aaron Dowen, but I can't really talk about those currently.
Yes, you can.
So I got quite a bit to.
Oh, you can talk about them. You can let us know all about it. Go ahead.
Okay, so no, I can't right now.
That's fine. All right, so you're good. All right, so George,
yeah,
what have you done so far?
So I've managed to go out and done a bunch of conventions in England this year. I have a company in Germany who's very interested in one of my books. So that was, I'm lying. I'm totally lying. What have you accomplished in 2024? Sounded like a big question. So I told Chad I'm gonna line my ass off on this show right now.
I was like, George, can I have your autograph?
No, none of that has happened.
I was gonna say, who are your contacts?
So this year, when 2024 started, I decided I'm going to try to hit a convention every month, even if it's not vending at the convention, just to go, because going to these conventions, when I come back from the conventions, I come back like re-energized, like going to the gym and like feeling like I just have so much energy and so much creative energy. So I decided I would do that. So I've managed to do that so far. So I've been to a show every month so far. And actually in July, I will be vending at Plastic City Comic Con. That will be my first show this year that I'll be actually selling my books at. So I did that. I wrote a graphic novel, 139 pages. I got it edited, and now I'm working with an artist to get that done for next year. And and then I re-released this book here. It's a 25th anniversary edition of my Rust 5377 book. And I think at the end of the year, I should have the second part of my Wonder Duck book. So yeah, man, 2024 has been busy, man. It's been a good year. So hoping to keep it going.
Okay.
Oh, I also just forgot to mention, because I'm going to upstand George right now. Oh, I also joined Catalyst Comics as their social media manager.
Wow.
So I'm going to
Good
be
for you,
working
bro.
with them. Yeah, mostly it's just me posting feet pics on their site, but
You might have been better off opening up an OnlyFans for that, but
I thought I would start more extreme than go with the obvious. So,
okay.
Roger. Yeah, gotcha.
You're not really interested in making money. You're just doing this for the love of the foot picture.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Okay,
yes. I'm
gotcha,
just doing it for the love of feet. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So I don't know. For myself, I think I'm on my third, maybe my fourth Kickstarter of the year.
Yeah, man.
So it's just I'm on the hamster wheel and I'm running. I'm running hard, and as soon as this one is done, I'm ready to launch the next one. I'm working on the one behind that, so we'll see, man. I'm gonna try to get out at least 8 to 10. I'm working on a new novel. What else am I doing? And there's always comic stuff that's coming in, like every week I'm getting in like 4 or 5 pages a week from artists. So, I mean, for that stuff, I guess that's what I opened my Substack for, so I can share that information. So if you want to join my Substack, and I'll be writing about that stuff. So there you go, a plug for that. All right, so there you go. So it sounds good. So I think everybody's on a good track. George, what's your question?
Oh, okay. All right. So, question for you guys: when creating stories, right? Do you create them with the mindset that you'll only finish putting them out if they sell, or you finish your story regardless of commercial success? How do you handle that?
Interesting. Mr. Rodman.
I've put them out no matter what. Because if I have enough energy to tell a story, to actually create it, I'm gonna make it because I want to. And frankly, I mean, if it doesn't work on as a commercial success, there are other avenues that I can post it on my website as a web comic or a web short story or whatever. There are other options to pursue, because if I'm creating it, it's because I want to see this thing come to life. It's not really for the money or anything. That stuff's for people that come to me that are like, hey, will you do this? And then yeah, okay, I'll do it for the money. But stuff that I come up with on my own, it's purely out of a passion for the project.
Cool. Thane, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so that was kind of a what's the word? That was kind of a mindset switch for me when I really went all in on self-publishing, because early in my career, when I was just like sending proposals to publishers constantly and collecting rejection letters, that was like I would only do just barely enough to try and whet people's interest, and not too many people were interested. So kind of with the advent of Kickstarter, I was like, oh, you can just do it yourself. And kind of since then, and since I found success with that, yeah, now if I want to make something, I'll make it. And if I'm lucky, it'll make money. With self-publishing, you can pretty much scale down to a point where you'll make some sort of money. At least you won't lose money. If you're depending on something like Kickstarter to make money. So yeah, so everything I do, I finish, and I try to do it in a way that I'm making money, because this is like my full-time job. This is what I do as a career. So I definitely have that like mindset that it has to make a certain amount of money to be viable. But that being said, like if I think it's cool, I'm gonna do it and just hope it makes money.
All right, cool. Chad.
Oh, 100%. I'm gonna do it anyway. That's my entire rule, is that it's like, oh, this could be financially successful. but I don't really care. But I'm gonna write this book anyway and do it because I feel like that's just far more fun than worrying about the financial stuff first, and that's just too stressful for me. So I like making my stories because I want to.
All right, cool. Grant, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So people tried to talk me out of doing Memoirs of the Morbid because it was a horror comic book. And people told me, you know, you should stick to one genre. And yeah, honestly, Memoirs of the Morbid hasn't sold as well as Beowulf, but I'm still doing it. So obviously, I'm either a glutton for punishment or I do the comic books that I want to do. I don't know. Have you guys heard that before, that you should stick to one genre?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you know, we're all comic book publishers, independent comic book publishers, so we're all gluttons for punishment. So
Yeah.
I don't think anyone could dispute that. So
Yeah. So yeah, I should probably try to narrow down my. I don't know how to describe it. Narrow down my brand or whatever, and I haven't done that. So I guess I'm not as commercially minded as I should be, maybe.
I think you should just do whatever genre you want to do. Like,
Yeah.
I want to write a trashy romance. Like,
you can do trashy romance with fish.
I could. I know fish with knee-high stockings would be great.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I think it's one thing to know your strengths and play to your strengths, but no, screw that, man. I've already done like 3 different genres. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, for the period of time that I spent working, you know, professionally, I mean, I wrote science fiction, fantasy, ninja fantasy. You know, I wrote what else? Another straight fantasy, and then a horror detective fantasy. So it was like, if I wasn't willing to step outside of those, you know, I wouldn't have been able to pick up that work.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, you got to be willing to pick up. You know, if you ever get that opportunity, you have to be able to step out of your comfort zone to be able to do that type of work. You have to be able to be like, okay, well, what is it? What's the project? You know, read through whatever they give you, and then, like, you know, can you adapt to it? You have to be able to adapt if you want to earn a buck. You know, and let me tell you, I mean, it can be very, very rewarding to step out of your comfort zone. I know I find it very rewarding when I step out. For the Oswald Chronicles, you know, a lot of people look at it, they see a cute mouse and they say, oh, it's about a cute little mouse and he does cute little things, and I'm like, yeah, you might want to think that. But within the scope of it, I explore different genres. I explore horror. I explore fantasy. I explore, you know, science fiction. You know, I have it as a prose story. I haven't done it as a comic book yet, but at one point I want to get that one adapted into a comic book. I also do Cthulhu mythos. I do all kinds of stuff in it, and you know, you have to just go in there and just really try to expand. You know, and do what you got to do. And look,
yeah, it's a cute little mouse story, just like Watership Down is a cute little rabbit story.
Exactly.
And Leg Dogs is about cute little dogs.
Right. You know, just like what is that? Animal Farm is just about cute little animals on a farm. Right.
Yeah.
But back to the original question, JD. Do you think that you maybe have had a commercial? Do you think that, you know, switching from genre to genre has held you back? You think?
No. Honestly, I don't. I mean, I know when I worked professionally, it didn't, and then within the scope that I'm doing now, no, because the thing is like they're so different. I'm appealing to different audiences anyway. That's probably the only thing that holds me back, is that when you do go into different genres, different people will like different things.
Yeah, so that's my concern, because I will say, when I look at the people who back Beowulf versus the people who back Memoirs of the Morbid, it was a Venn diagram, it would there would just be like a teeny tiny little overlap.
Yeah.
And
Daphne and I, we each do. All right, so we have 3 books between the two. Daphne's my wife, for those of you who don't know, right? And I do the Oswald Chronicles, which is my book. She does Ego Raven, which is her book, and then we have a book together, which is called Tall Tales, right? So I have mine, she has hers, and we have ours, right? So we all work, so it's all there. But the Venn diagram between those 3 properties, we've looked at the metrics, is 8%, and they're all fantasy. All 3 books are fantasy books at one level or another, and it's 8% between those 3 books. So
it doesn't really matter, is what you're saying.
I mean, until because the only person I've ever seen, well, there are several authors who, like, no matter what they do, their fan base is gonna jump on it. Neil Gaiman is one of those guys. Frank Miller was that guy for a long time. Alan Moore, obviously. There are a bunch of different names you could throw out there, and people are just going to jump on it because they are who they are. For myself, I say jump around. As the old song goes, right? Jump around. Tom, Mr. Hutchison.
Yeah.
How are you, sir? Please
I'm good.
Yourself.
All the information is here.
All right, cool.
Well, here.
I apologize. I apologize for cutting your walk around the lake short, but
I mean, I came here for you, JD, for you.
Listen, I appreciate it. I appreciate it because the other JD only gives me 15 minutes to let me know that he can't make it. He couldn't tell me a couple hours ago. You know what I mean? Like someone who's considerate.
When Mr. Calderon calls, you put your ears on and you get on the show. This is how it works.
I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I've been listening. I had my phone, so I was listening for my last lap around. So yeah, it was good chit chat.
So George, I maybe you want to repeat the question for Tom.
Yeah. All right. So Tom, when creating stories, do you create them with the mindset that you'll only finish putting them out if they sell, or do you finish your story regardless of commercial success?
Yeah, I was listening to all you guys kind of talk about different things, and like the different genre thing came up and all of that. So first of all, I like this question because it's where truth and bullshit meet. Because a lot of people will just say, well, I'll just keep doing it. I'll just keep doing it. I'll keep doing it. But it will reach a point that if it's not making money, you can't keep doing it. It becomes true vanity project, right? And that's to say you can't do it, but it's true vanity project. If you're just making a book and nobody is buying it, there is no point in continuing what you're doing, or you should be reevaluating your marketing, or whatever it is. If it's hitting a wall, eventually you have to stop. Otherwise you're just shelling out thousands upon thousands of dollars for truly a vanity project. So for me, and for me, it is my business. Like, I don't do anything else. I mean, I sell comics like on the side and stuff. Everything I do is comic related, but for me, my business is I make this stuff, and it has to make some money back, at least to pay for itself and pay for, warehouses and, things to keep the business running. So, and all of my books, when you talk about all the different genres, I do like almost every different genre, and all of them have various levels of, this one might do 40,000 and this might do 20,000 and, so on. So there's a lot of sort of thinking that goes into that. Like, okay, why is this one at 20 and I can't get it higher? Like, what's creating the plateau here? And so I kind of have to, what's holding this back? Is it me? Is it the product? Is it the covers? Is it, what is it? So, at this point, everything that I do because it's working to some capacity. But if something were to just like fall off the edge of the earth and be like, suddenly, hey, this was at 20 and now it's at 5, like, there's a problem. There's a problem in there. And I would have to kind of come in and figure out what I do about it. How do I fix it? Do I write it off? Do I say, okay, done, no one's interested, I move on? And that's a hard question for creators sometimes to really make. If you're told you're not viable, that's a hard slap in the face. And when we're all talking about pitching to publishers and stuff, and we're getting rejection letters and all that, like that's a hard slap in the face. But I also think that can be your chip on the shoulder too, because that's what happened to me. Is they told me, well, they didn't even tell me no. You guys all have rejection letters. I'm like the guy at the end of that meme, like, you guys get rejection letters? Like, I got ignored, like nothing. And so I just put the chip on my shoulder and I said, all right, I'm going to show you I can do it. And so now we've been doing it for 14 years. So, but the point is that I think sometimes the rejection letter or being ignored or being told you're not viable, I think that's valuable to a creator sometimes, because it can push you in the direction of, all right, screw you guys. I'm going to show you that I can make this work. And a lot of times that energy is just what a creator needs to kind of take a step up and forward that maybe they didn't know they needed.
There you go. Maybe I should answer the question correctly, George. Sorry. So for myself, yes, I would finish it. The thing is, though, is if it wasn't selling, I would finish it, but it would probably be in prose. It wouldn't be as a comic book, because it's like Tom said, I would be spending thousands, probably tens of thousands of dollars to make it happen. And without, the revenue coming in to make it happen, I would, I could either eat, go on vacation, or I could write it in prose. I'll just end up writing it in prose. And that's just how that would work. It's just be cheaper for me. And, I could hire an editor I have my buddy, he'll do it for me for a few $100, and he's an actual professional editor. And he, it's like, he does it for me out of pity. So. But I mean, you can hire those people, and even hire a cover artist for a few $100, and and then you just move on, and then that'll be that. You get your book, you slap a cover on, you're like, okay, it's there, it's done. But as a comic book, I need to make money to make it happen, which is why I'm on the perpetual hamster wheel of Kickstarter, and then constantly promoting. Well, maybe not promoting anywhere as much as I should, but I'm constantly putting them out there. So, but I enjoy this, so I keep it moving.
Yeah.
So George, answer your own question.
So many years ago, when I first started doing this, before I started doing this, I used to hear a lot of people say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do the second issue if the first one does well, right? And I used to think, like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, finish your story. Like, who cares? Like, it is what it is. And then I started doing this. And I realized, holy cow, I can't keep doing this unless the first one does well, right? So yes, so to Tom's point, and even to JD's, me personally, I write my stories, and I finish writing my stories regardless of how they do, because I like to write. It becomes a vanity thing, right? I just want to finish them. I just want to see where the story goes. As far as putting them out, commercially, when you start thinking about the business side of it, you have to change that mindset and say, okay, is this going to sell, and who is it going to sell to? And that's going to be actually a question that I also have. And so I think that I finish my stories, but when it comes time to sell them, I have to be realistic about, is it going to sell, and then finish putting them out, which is different than finishing the story. Putting them out and finishing the story are two separate things. So yeah, that's how I go about it.
All right, cool. Tom, before I start pulling up campaigns, do you have a question, or do you want me to just pull up campaigns?
I mean, I'm kind of curious because when when Grant got into the genre thing of this, I'm kind of curious. How do I phrase this? Are you, as a writer, creator, whatever, are you afraid of moving into other genres? Like, is there an actual, like, oh, I don't want to be there. I only want to be in this comfort zone of horror or superheroes or, whatever it is. Like, do you have an actual, I don't want to go over there type of thing in your brain when you create, or are you just sort of open? Because, like, for me, I do everything almost, and it doesn't bother me. It's just whatever I feel like doing today, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm curious if you guys have sort of I'm anti horror, like, I want to do horror, like I can't do it, right? But if you're writing a Western, would you be adverse to writing a superhero if you felt like doing it, or would you just be afraid that you wouldn't be able to pull either a new audience or your other audience over to it?
Interesting. All right, let's start with Thane.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I'd be afraid of going in any direction. My only concern is it something I can get excited about? Like, is it something that I can bring passion to? If I think I can, like, I'm willing to do anything. But like, if it's something that like does not excite me, like, I don't know, like historical romance or something, maybe wouldn't be something that would get me excited. And if I'm not excited, I think it shows. So in that sense, I sort of just follow my muse. But I like all kinds of stuff. You know, I do a lot of sort of lighter adventure, humorous stuff, but I also kind of like dark and horror, and kind of everything in between. Like, I'm not afraid to get super weird with my writing. So, but again, it's sort of just like whatever I think will be fun for me to do. That all being said, a lot of the stuff I've done in the past several years has been pretty sort of like all ages friendly, and I have some more like R-rated adult stuff kind of in the works, and I'm not like afraid to put it out, but I just want to be clear with the messaging when that comes out. That people don't like buy it thinking it's for their kid, because I do get a lot of people being like, "Oh, I bought this for my grandkids," and I just want to make it clear that like, if that's not what I'm doing, just so you know, you probably don't this next thing to your grandkid unless you're, I don't know, you're into that, which is up to you, not me. So I just think my only fear is being clear with the messaging and people getting what they think they're gonna get.
Nice. Yeah. I have my regular Kickstarter channel. I have a second Kickstarter channel for that other stuff. Yeah, so just to make it very separate. But, you know, sometimes you gotta do it. Chad, how do you feel about it?
It's pretty much the same thing like what Thane said. It really, the genre has to interest me for me to actually want to do it. I don't think is there a humming, or is that just me? Anyway. Okay, I guess I'm going insane.
Just you.
I heard this.
So yeah, it's just, if I'm not interested in the genre, I'm not gonna do it. But at the same time, though, it's like, yes, I want to do like a trashy romance. Is it gonna be good? Is my biggest problem. It's just like, is it gonna be work where I can say, oh yeah, hey, you should buy this or you should check it out, and bring my fans over, and get new fans. So it's kind of like that type of deal. But I do. I also won't do, like, I've gotten a lot of people at cons asking me if I do children's books, and no, I don't. It's really just because I don't want to. So it's like, it's not that I can't. It's just I don't want to. So there's also that as well. So.
All right, cool. Grant, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is a question that I struggle with because, I mean, obviously I have done comic books in other genres, but, you know, sometimes I think to myself, okay, am I shooting myself in the foot by doing that? What you told me, JD, is kind of blew my mind, that because I would have assumed that the audience for both of Daphne's books were pretty much, and your book,
You would
were
think
pretty much the same, but
yeah.
then you're saying that it isn't. So that's kind of blowing my mind. So I mean, I don't know. I have like a little file on my computer where I keep track of all my ideas for stories, and I have ideas for stories in every genre. Science fiction. There's one story that's science fiction. I have superhero ideas. I have a lot of fantasy ideas. I have a lot of horror ideas. But I mean, it's something that I think about a lot. Like, am I gonna do those stories knowing that most of the audience that I've built probably isn't going to read them, and I'm going to have to build a whole new audience. One thing that I was really surprised by when I did Memoirs of the Morbid is I talked to a lot of people who were just like, I don't read horror, no matter how well it's written. I have no interest in writing horror or reading horror, and I was really surprised by that because I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, you're missing out on a lot of good movies, a lot of good comic books,
Yeah.
etc. See, I personally don't think like that. I mean, I like movies, books, TV shows in all types of different genres. But there are people who just have their genre and that's what they want.
Oh yeah, for certain. I mean, they're just people who only read kids books, right? Like if it's above Harry Potter, they're not reading it, right? and that just happens. I mean, it's just a thing. Try to get them to read Dune, and they were like, no, right? But there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, everybody has their tastes, and some people like their spaces, and that's what that is. Mr. Rodman, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm definitely not scared to try a genre that I'm passionate about. I think everybody's pretty on par with everybody else who said similar things. For me, though, I think, and grant this, I mean, this might be helpful. I don't know. I have found, because Memoirs of an Angel and The Nebulizer are two very different genres. The audience is one's horror, one's action comedy. Sometimes those cross over. But for me, any kind of project that I take on, I am passionate about it. So I'm gonna pretty much just be explaining to people why they should like it, regardless of the genre, because I'm so excited about it. And so for me, I've found that actually works. We've actually had quite a few people cross over from Memoirs of an Angel to The Nebulizer, and then pick up, people we pick up from The Nebulizer on Kickstarter have now transferred over to the, illustrated prose book on Kickstarter for Memoirs. So, and a lot of it's just because of, I think, just that they're catching the fire of they're jumping on to the excitement, really, that I'm a big goober and want to tell you about this thing that I'm doing. So I mean, really, I think, and I really do think that's a lot of it. I think people catch the hype of what you love and what you're excited about, and no matter what genre you're working on, I mean, yeah, there are some people that just won't get into certain genres, and that's understandable. That's fine. But I think there will be a lot of people that if you can clearly state why you love this thing and what you're doing and why, and I think people will jump on board and give it a chance, even if they would normally say it's not their thing. I know so many people who don't really dig horror that they're bringing Memoirs of an Angel to life right now on Kickstarter because they're willing to give it a chance, because I won't shut up about it. So yeah, but as far as the fear of the genre, yeah, I mean, there is actually I think there is one genre that I'm not really scared of, but personally I just don't really dig romance. It's just not really my thing.
Yeah,
That may
Chad.
change. That may change.
Sorry.
But although, Chad, I think you should do a feet romance. That would be.
I should. It'll be about feet.
Yeah, exactly. 2 feet characters falling in
Feet
love.
and fish.
In the same book. Just
Yes.
make it weird.
Oh God,
Yeah.
Oh, God.
this is my weird fetish book.
All right, cool. George, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think that again, the word fear, right? It's like, oh, are you afraid? I think that it can be intimidating to jump into something that maybe you've never done or you're not comfortable doing it, right? But I think part of writing or part of being, a writer is being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And I think that the only way to find out if you can do something is to do it. So why not try it and see what happens? I mean, you may be good at it, you may not. And if you're not good at it, maybe it's like a challenge for you to get better at it. But I think like a lot of you said, you have to be interested in it. You have to want to write it. It can't just be a thing of like, hey, I'm just going to do it because. I think there has to be some kind of passion behind your writing. Otherwise, I think the reader's going to see it. It's going to see the fact that you weren't really passionate. It was a hack job. You just did it, whether it's for the money or whatever it is. So yeah, I think you definitely have to kind of challenge yourself to do things, but only, again, like you said, like you guys said, if there's passion behind it.
Fair enough. For myself, I mean, like I said, I mean, I've done pretty much every genre there is, and I don't have any fears of it. And as far as like even romance, I've never done a specific romance, but I've had romance in my stories. So that sort of thing, for me, it's natural, right? If you have two characters that are in there and they're in a relationship, you're gonna have romance on some level, and that's just part of life. So I mean, I do heavy fantasy, and I mean, fantasy is some weird reflection of reality, right? So you have to have that level in there because most people's greatest passion is their romances in their lives, right? Whether it be with various loved ones, lovers, whatever. You understand, your wife, you understand, your girlfriend, so on and so forth, your boyfriend, whatever. That will probably be the thing you're going to be the most passionate with, right? The other thing is, maybe religion, so on and so forth. But it's just like, I would tell anyone, like, don't ever be afraid of like romance, try to get into it. Obviously, I don't think I would ever write like a full blown, that's the only thing the story is about, romance. But I mean, I have romance in my stories. And like I said, it happens in Oswald. It happens in my other book, Tall Tales. It happens, in various other stories that I've written. And it's just, like I said, it's just part of it, And the thing is, it's just like I said, it's the whole thing about passion. And like I said, I find that as one of the greatest motivator for any character is going to be that type of passion. You understand? I mean, if I have to cross the planet for the person I love, I will. There are very few things I'd cross the planet for. But, for the person I love, I'll cross the planet for. So, and I think that that's true for most people. And I think that's great motivator. It's just same thing with a father and his kid, so on and so forth. You get adapted, mother, child, father, son, father, daughter, blah blah blah. Goes all sorts of different directions. Anyway, Tom, what are your thoughts?
Well, first to Lori's question, are there shark books? Yes.
There you go.
Right there.
All right,
Yes,
but are they about feet?
Not this issue, but we can talk about that for later issues. I will say that there are feet in the book when they walk on the sand.
Oh, good.
So there is feet. There is foot representation in the book.
Happy now.
Yes,
all right,
great.
So, Chad, are you a big Quentin Tarantino fan?
Yeah, he's my idol.
Okay, all right. I just had to check. It's the biggest foot fetishist I know.
So yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, like I do everything. Whatever I feel like doing, I just do it. I'm not concerned about jumping in and out. But I have seen the somewhat necessity of when you bring something new. It doesn't necessarily mean that your existing fans are coming over right away. You'll have your hardcore guys that are like, "Oh, Tom is doing a thing. All right, I'm going to get it." But if it's a Western to a superhero to a horror, the Venn diagram separates itself a little further and further. So that's definitely a real thing. But just as a thought process, like JD talked about all of his books, right? Him and Daphne's books, and they have like this small crossover. Even Brian Pulido, who only does one genre, Lady Death doubles all of the other books that he does. So even within his pocket universe, he has a hierarchy of sales and interest through his fan base. So, I don't think that I'm glad that you guys all had, to me, the right answer. Like, if you are passionate about whatever it is you're making, let's make it. Like, that's, I think, is the right answer. Anyone that wants to kind of like purposely pigeonhole themselves, like, I only want to be in this little tiny box, I think that that's not going to do you any favors down the road. That's just my opinion.
All right, cool. Sorry about that. I had to hold up the cat because I can't even get this cat. I can't get him to hold still to take a picture. So, I have to document that he's alive. So Daphne can watch it. He's in Baltimore with his sister.
Your views will go up because you held the cat.
That's right.
Your
Your views will go up.
Probably.
Yeah, all the people that'll be like, oh, at 44 and 13 seconds, that's when you start watching the show, because that's when the cat showed up.
Because he held up the cat, yes.
Yeah.
Now he's off to go do his thing again. So, all right, cool. So, yeah, Tom, thank you. Hold on. See, and of course, Daphne's not here. I got her used to pulling up all the campaigns. Now I got to do it. This is crazy.
Man, JD left you hanging. Now Daphne.
No. Well, Daphne, she went to go visit her sister. Chad, do you want me to play this video?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah,
all right. This should work. So, because Daphne is much better at this than I am. She has it already set up. So, you can hear it.
Yep.
Come all you young sailormen, listen to me. I'll sing you a song of the fish in the sea. And it's windy weather, boys, stormy weather, boys. When the wind blows, we're all together, boys. Blow ye winds westerly, blow ye winds blow. Jolly sou'wester, boys, steady she goes. Up jumps the eel with his slippery tail, climbs up aloft and he reefs the topsail, and it's windy weather, boys.
Cool. So, Chad, what are we looking at?
Well, you're looking at my campaign, and there's some words on the screen.
I know. Well, start talking, sir. It's your campaign. Start pitching
it. So this is Set the Hook #1. This story follows Otis Yessie Barrett, who is on a quest to kill the demonic Pike that murdered his father. It is a revenge story of Moby Dick meets John Constantine. It's a strange world where hell has essentially risen up, and it's all aquatics. So that's why I say welcome to Hell's Aquarium. It's because Hell's Aquarium was released on Earth, and Otis has to figure out where the fish is that murdered his father with his partner, the ginger axolotl, or axolotl if you like puns. Yep. Tim Spavero did the artwork for it, and yeah, so that's Set the Hook.
All right, cool. So this is a one shot.
No, it's a 4-issue.
It's a 4-issue limited series. Okay.
Yep.
What type of how often do you see yourself releasing an issue?
Well, if depending how this one goes, at least every couple of months.
Okay.
So currently I'm working on issue 2. Like the scripts are done, but I just sent off the second script to get that finished. Yeah.
All right. So you have all 4 issues right now?
Yes. Yep. All 4 issues are written out.
All right, that's good. That's good because I don't. So you know what it is? They're not here, so I don't want to talk shit about them.
Yeah.
But Jay likes to write them 1 issue at a time, and keeps the artist waiting months at a time. So So.
Oh
no. Yeah. Good thing we're not talking shit about him. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't want to. I think I kind of have to because he kind of stood me up.
So why on earth was it not called Hell's Aquarium? I'm sort of disappointed right now.
I kind of came up with the title Set the Hook before Hell's Aquarium, and everything was kind of already done. So I would have to go back and change everything. And I'm like, ugh. But you are right, though. Hell's Aquarium is a way better title. But I really like fishing. So
you know what you could do? Here's what you can do.
What?
Here's what you can do. You go into and you can do this later with your images and stuff too. You go into your description at the top where it says, Set the Hook, whatever. You say Set the Hook, Volume 1, Hell's Aquarium.
Oh, yeah, I could do that.
So your volume name is Hell's Aquarium. And then you can just add that to your covers and stuff whenever you want to.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that now. Yeah, this is now called Hell's Aquarium.
I do like your little hook thing on the your logo here.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you. It's Aaron Dowen did that logo. He was thinking of an angler fish, when he did it. So I really love the logo too.
And Mr. Lanning did a nice cover. And you have
Mr. Lanning. I have Jason Doobie, Vic Medina, and then of course Daphne Lage, who did Viva Las Vegas, which is awesome. I love it.
All right, cool, man. I mean, so I think you're a little bit over halfway there.
Yep.
All right, so you got another 11 days to go.
Yep.
All right, cool. I think you're gonna make it by the skin of your teeth, but I think you're gonna make it.
Well, thank you. That's what I'm hoping for. At least the skin of my teeth.
Well,
So.
that title change is gonna help it. You're gonna fund right away now.
Oh hell yeah, you're right. My other idea was just to, I don't know, start selling nudes, but no, I guess
Nude feet.
nude feet.
Yeah.
There you go.
True. If you would have included feet, you might have made it.
I'll just put feet at the beginning of it.
Yeah, that's
Feet.
volume 1 feet.
Yeah, you just need to make a cover of the river, and you're in the water, and you see the dude's feet like he's fishing, but he's fishing barefoot, and then there's your foot cover. You're
Oh,
good to go.
perfect. Great.
Yeah.
All the fish fetish people will come.
Yeah.
Grant, do you want me to play this video?
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I am Grant Lankard, and this is my cat, Mooney. Mooney was not only a beloved house pet, he was also a character in my comic book Beowulf. Now, he quickly became the most popular character in the comic book. Of course, how could he not? Just look at him. And he even liked to help me out with the marketing of the comic book. Unfortunately, Mooney passed away between issues 4 and 5 of the comic book, but don't feel bad. He had an amazing life. He lived to a ripe old age. He was over 20 when he passed away. And more importantly, we're trying to keep his legacy alive with this comic book Beowulf, which is in memory of Mooney. Now, the Beowulf trade paperback collects issues 1 through 6 of the miniseries. Beowulf is the story of how Mooney and Hazel have to track down the legendary warrior Beowulf when they have a vision of a dragon waking from a 1,000-year nap. Unfortunately, Beowulf has been reincarnated as this guy. His name is Victor, and he's more 30-something slacker than mighty warrior. Will they defeat the dragon and survive the ordeal? You can only find out by backing this Kickstarter.
Cool. All right, so you're like 60% there. You got 48 backers. You got 43 days. All right, so Grant, what do we got?
Yeah, so I think the video did a pretty good job of explaining it. Basically, Beowulf has been reincarnated in modern times. The guy you learned about in high school English class, he's been reincarnated in modern times as a 30-something slacker. His friends Hazel and her cat Mooney, and Mooney is a cat with magic powers. They have to get him in shape to go up against this dragon. And as you can see by scrolling through the pages, it kind of cuts back and forth. He has visions of his previous life. And this collects issues 1 through 6, which they were all very successful on Kickstarter and through Diamond as well. These are the different characters from Beowulf. Obviously, you have Mooney, Victor, Hazel. This is the Gollum, and of course the dragon. And this is also the main bad guy of the comic book. He kind of tries to take control of the dragon. His name is Attila.
How many pages is the trade paperback in total?
Roughly 140.
Cool. Just out of curiosity, how long did it take you to actually produce it?
It's been about 3 years.
Okay.
And as you can see, as you can see there, I'm also doing cross promotion with another guy who's on our panel, Mr. Brian Rodman.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
And then we have lots of add-ons that you can get.
Cool. Now, where did you find your art team?
Well, I mean, the art team, my friend Antonio does the pencils, and then I pretty much do everything else. So Antonio was just an artist that I really liked, so I asked him if he would mind doing pencils for it. And then, yeah, I did the inks and the colors and the letters and stuff like that.
Cool. Very nice. All right. Let's say you got another 43 days, so you got plenty of time. I don't think you're gonna have any issues funding. So, yeah.
Let's hope. Thanks.
No, I don't think you have any problems. You gave yourself plenty of time.
Yeah, I always do that. I know everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I mean, I get backers every day. So I mean,
right?
Why not?
Yeah, no, I mean. Listen, I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. Like, I know I would go crazy. I mean, I run 21-day campaigns, and I'm like, it's too long. It's too long. You know, why is it not done yet? You know, it drives me nuts. So, but yeah. I mean, listen, you're on the right trajectory, so you go in the right direction. All right, now, Mr. Rodman, do you want me to play this video?
Go ahead. Just a warning that I was like super sick this day, but I was running out of time, so I had to come up with something. Hey, everybody. I'm Brian Rodman, the author and illustrator of Memoirs of an Angel, The Great Pilgrim, and welcome to the Kickstarter of Memoirs of an Angel, The Great Pilgrim. I am so excited for you to be here. Thank you so much for showing up and just taking a look around. Being willing to even click on this page means the world to us at BNR Publications. Thank you so much. I just want to say that first. Secondly, I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about what you're looking at. So if you're familiar with Memoirs of an Angel, the comic book series, this is an adaptation and expansion of that, and we're actually going to be moving forward from comic book series into illustrated prose from now on. For health reasons that I explained below in the story, I've had to pivot from doing comic books to illustrated prose specifically for these stories that take place in the Cosmic Wheel universe. It would have been too vast to tell in comic book form the way that my health allows me to create stuff now. So thank you for being here. And I just kind of want to get into what this is. So the initial goal of our Kickstarter campaign here for the book is $5,500. The reason for that is because all of the cost goes towards publishing the book, printing the book, and giving you the rewards that we have to offer, which are pretty freaking awesome. I'm really proud of what we have here, what we've put together for this campaign. But all the proceeds go towards just the basics of getting this stuff to you. Also, it helps fund future inventory for shows and different campaigns that we're planning for in the future. And so that's where all the funds are going towards. I mean, it really just funnels right back into creating in the future. But to kind of just pivot over to the rewards really quick, guys, we have some really good stuff that I mean, check this out. This was this is one of the featured rewards that we have on the campaign, and this is the Cosmic Wheel mug, handcrafted. Each mug is handcrafted by Deep Creek Arts, by our dear friend Tasha Irving. So talented, and there's a whole highlight on her down in the story portion of this campaign. I highly recommend and encourage you to check that out, just to kind of know just a brief summary of who she is and what her business does. Also, another great reward that we're offering this go round is a poster of Moriel, who's one of the main Angel characters, a poster by Nathan Thomas Milner, who's a good friend of mine. helped me break into comic books. Great guy, so talented. His art's been featured on Blu-ray covers and Fangoria magazine, Playboy magazine. Dude's a big deal, and he's a great guy. He's super humble. And once you see this poster, you're going to want it. I mean, it's amazing. It is everything that I wanted it to be. So excited for you guys to get to have a chance to have that. And once we get the initial goal of $5,500, we have some really good stretch goals for you in store as well, which we have a popular thing that we, on all of our campaigns, a really popular reward is a beanie. And this design this new design for this new beanie is the Cosmic Wheel logo. We've not had a beanie with that logo on it yet. So that's our first stretch goal, is to get that beanie in as an add-on item for everybody, because it's in one of the reward tiers, one of the higher collector tiers, with the t-shirt of the Cosmic Wheel logo, which is another stretch goal. Plus we have some maps from the book that you can check out as a stretch goal. A couple of them are in the story section. We've got a lot of really good stuff for you here, guys. I'm really thankful that you're here. I'm really excited about this campaign and what we're starting, because that's what this is. This is the beginning of the Cosmic Wheel saga. Expect a lot of books coming after this. That this is the kickoff, and what a kickoff it is. Memoirs of an Angel, The Great Pilgrim. It is heavily illustrated, so it's kind of a hybrid of comic books and prose. But the main method of storytelling here is in prose. This is my first real novel I've ever done, and I'm really proud of it. I've got some really great feedback from some really wonderful beta readers, and I'm just excited for you to experience this. And the cover, it'll be a matte cover. We're talking over 500 pages of story. Like I said, it tells everything that the comic books that have already been published. It tells all that story, plus, 8 issues more. We have 8 issues of the published comic, and you've really only read half the story of book 1. This tells the entire story of book 1. So check it out, peruse through the campaign, see what fits your budget, see what you want, what you enjoy. We have a lot of really cool things for you here. So again, thank you so much for just clicking on this. Thank you for being here. Thank you for checking out. And ultimately, if you do, thank you so much for backing this project. It means the world to us. Just thank you. Thank you very much. And welcome to the world of the Cosmic Wheel.
Cool.
You like how I totally didn't tell you what the book's about? That's the best part of the video.
Yeah.
I was feeling like complete trash. It was the day before we launched when I made that video. And I posted it. I put it up there, and my wife was like, "So you didn't even tell people what the book is about?" I was like, "Yeah, I know. I realized that, but it's too late now, and I can't breathe." So I'll go ahead and tell you what the book's about now. It's the elevator pitch is it's about 2 angels who race through space and time to enter the mind of a demon-possessed boy and vanquish the diabolical creature that infests his mind. However, the further that the 2 angels continue on their mission, the more they realize that this boy is much more than he seems. And it actually takes place from a few different characters' perspectives throughout about a 25-year span. So you've got a bunch of angelic and demonic characters that are in the unseen realm. And then you are following a couple characters in the physical realm. And this actually takes place 2,000 years into the future. The entire world has completely been reshaped, and civilization looks completely different now. But the story crosses over between the seen and unseen realm, and ultimately, by the end of the book, all the characters have to learn to come together to defeat this demon that is infesting this boy, and face what this boy could one day become when he becomes an adult. So yeah, it's called Memoirs of an Angel. It was a comic book series. We did 8 issues of the comic, and then, like I said in the video, my health kind of tanked, and this was the pivot from comics to prose, just to keep the story going, just to keep it alive. And yeah, man, it's going pretty well. Like I said, we've got some really cool rewards. I'm loving these mugs. I have one already, like you saw. I've been drinking out of it every morning almost since I got it. And that poster by Nate is amazing. And we just got a lot of different options for people to choose from. We've got the digital tier, physical tier, where you get the book. The book's actually going to be over 500 pages. And there's a lot of illustrations. So I know a lot of my fans and readers, they come from comics, and not all of them dig prose. This is extremely illustrated. Like, we're talking an illustration every other page at least, and it's all in comic book art style. So like it's a lot of bang for your buck. It's a lot of story for $25, or $12 if you go with the digital route. And we also have the comic book collector. So every comic book that we've done on Memoirs of an Angel, if you want to get kind of how the series started, we have that option as well. Those are all there for add-ons as well, so you don't have to pay $200 just to get the comics. But yeah, we've got some cool Kickstarter. We got some cool stretch goals in mind as well. Couple of the beanie and the shirt added to become add-ons, and then we've got a couple maps from the story itself that we'll have as prints. There's my goofy face. As I'm the main artist writer. And my wife is the manager of the project. She's the businesswoman. She's the one that really makes this thing happen. That's my editor, Kim. She's excellent. She makes me sound a heck of a lot better than I actually am. And some of you guys may know Stephanie Menard. She was initially my editor, and we had to pivot because we ran out of funding. So we had to kind of make some different choices. And then that is our formatter, Sarah. She rocks. She is making this thing look like an actual book, and it's great. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. And go back Beowulf as well, because it's fantastic. I have all the individual issues, and I'm getting the trade.
All right, cool. Now, so this is the first book in a series. How many books are you expected to be in the series?
Yeah, so I actually just I posted a big map of what the Cosmic Wheel series is going to be. Let me pull it up really fast on my phone. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have about 12 books planned. They're not all Memoirs of an Angel, because they're all different books that take place in the Cosmic Wheel universe. But they all do. They all kind of have their each individual story, but they all connect as well, and they're all leading to the final Memoirs of an Angel book that will close out the main storyline of the Cosmic Wheel.
All right.
So yeah, so this book, it does kind of have a standalone story as well, but it does set the entire series up from here on out.
Gotcha. Now, you were saying, so there's a comic and there's this. Does this actually recount everything that occurs in the comics?
Yes. So this tells all the first 8 issues, but man, it's funny. When we pivoted to prose, I quickly realized this was probably the medium it needed to be told in from the get-go. So you get the story of the first 8 issues of the comic, but you get so much more in that storyline. There's so much more you didn't get in the comics. And then of course we have this book tells what was going to be the first 15 issues of the comic series.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. I mean, listen, are you well on your way? You got another 22 days. I don't think you're going to have a problem funding. It looks like a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, man. I look forward to hearing what you think.
All right. Thane. So do you want me to play this video?
Yes, please.
I love it. Very nice.
Thank you. Yeah, so try to keep the videos as short and sweet as possible.
Yes.
But the idea is that Quick the Clockwork Knight and the Clocksmith are out on the desert dunes. He starts to follow this butterfly, and he falls in a sinkhole and ends up at the bottom. And he falls and ends up at the bottom of this pyramid. And he wakes up this king, this pharaoh, who's at the bottom of the pyramid, wakes him up, disturbs his grave. Pharaoh gets all mad and curses him. And that's kind of where the reader takes over. You start making decisions because your goal is to get out of this pyramid alive. So it's like it's like a choose your own adventure interactive game. You're making different decisions. You're trying to solve riddles. You're trying to gather clues to help you figure out certain mysteries. You got to unlock certain things to get out, and you got to avoid or beat a bunch of monsters on the way. So it's like a fun game. There's a whole story element to like what's going on with this pyramid. Why is it like this? Why are there traps everywhere? Why are there monsters everywhere? What's the deal with this super angry pharaoh guy? So there is like a story that unfolds as you make your way through the pyramid and try to get out.
All right, cool, man. I mean, how many campaigns? Oh, okay, so you've created 24. Okay, so nice. So how long have you been doing? How long have you been on Kickstarter?
I think my very first book, I think, was in 2010, I want to say. So pretty early. And I think Kickstarter started 2009, if I have that right. So like as soon as I found out about it, I was like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to stop collecting rejection letters and actually bring something to print. Yeah, you know, it's funny, JD. I don't know if you remember this, but so JD and I had a little bit of back and forth behind the scenes. I was trying to figure out because he invited me to do this, but then I couldn't find the invitation because he sent it over Facebook, and I was going through my email like, where's this guy who said he wanted me to do this show? So I was like searching for you and Oswald Chronicles because I remembered that from reading it, and you backed my very first book, JD. Yes. I don't remember this way back when.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was my original book here. My very first graphic novel, kind of a murder mystery that takes place in hell. So thanks for backing that way back in 2010.
Yeah. What's funny is I just lost track of you. And I was like, you know, when I saw you again, I was like, it's been forever, you know, since I've seen your stuff.
Yeah. I've been on Kickstarter consistently since then. It used to be like once a year I would do a project on Kickstarter, but now I'm there almost every month.
Gotcha.
Really ramped it up in recent years.
Yeah. No, I know that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there. And look, man, I mean, you know, you're what almost 200%, and 10 days ago, 124 backers. So you're good. This was awesome. So hopefully, you know, we can get push you over that 200% mark.
Yeah, that would be great. But yeah, it's chugging right along.
Yeah, it's gorgeous work. I love it, man. I mean, I love the funky style.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think it says it anywhere in the Kickstarter, but I should probably mention. So all the artwork's by me, all the writing's by me. It's all by me, but the color art is by my friend Jeff Waschenberger, who is credited in the book. But I don't think I remember to actually put him in the Kickstarter. So my friend did help me out with the colors. Most of the colors. There's a little bit by me, but it's 90% him.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Thane's too. I have a few comic books by him.
Yeah. What's funny is I think I might have met you years ago at a show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if it might have been in Boston. I don't know if you've ever done Boston.
No, I don't think I've ever done any shows in Boston.
Oh, okay. So maybe, all right. I don't know.
Maybe not.
It all melds into one big giant mass after a while.
Yeah.
You don't know where you've been. So yeah. So I got you, man. But yeah, your stuff is gorgeous. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. All right.
Yeah. So I was looking at all your projects, JD, and I was curious because you've done 30 something, right, on Kickstarter? Is that right?
38. Yeah, 38 of them. Yeah.
Have you noticed like trends over the years?
That would require someone who pays attention. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. The only trends that we've noticed is that, like, we one of the things we do on this show is we try to hash out what's going on in the business, right? And the one thing, we've broken it down, right? Like, I mean, we know that, you either have to be, top tier, right, is you're famous, right? So you got something like Berserker from Keanu Reeves or Neil Gaiman. And then just underneath that, you have good girl art or high-end artists, right? Somebody like Arthur Adams, those guys, even though they're famous, but, they're not as famous as someone like, Keanu Reeves or whatever. And then just underneath that, you have somebody like good girl art and then Cthulhu and the horror and anthologies and all that stuff. And those are really the only things that I've ever seen. But yeah, I mean, as far as that, as far as like trends, I mean, it just depends. I mean, yeah, like the one trend we've seen is that there's a lot of good girl art out there, and they do well, but it's even then, it's one of those things. Even though Tom can attest to this, you have to work at it. It's not something that's just going to come to you. You got to like really put in your time in those. Because I know Tom does it. My other friend of the show, Larry, he does a lot of those, and it still requires a lot of work, right, Tom?
Yeah, and one of the things that I keep telling people about all that stuff is, and I tell people that do it, and I'm like, dude, you're going to hit diminishing returns before too long. Is they focus too much on that versus the book itself, right? Like it's like their focus is how many nudes can I put on this book, and I'm like, you realize if no one cares about these characters, they can get tits for free on the internet, right? Like, I mean, eventually, if they don't like your character, the tits don't matter anymore. So there's a balance to the whole thing, and you still have to have a good book, a good story, a good character, something to still bring them in to care about, that type of art. So there's no it's one of those things that people kind of call the Kickstarter hack. Is like, if you put that stuff on there, you're going to get more attention. Yes, absolutely, but it doesn't mean that that's going to be long-term incremental success either.
Right. Yeah. And it's one of those things, like we've seen. I mean, Thane, I don't know if you've seen it. I mean, have you seen, like, we've seen a little bit of dip in some campaigns. Like, I know, like mine's is really slow on this one, but I think the only reason I think I'm moving so slow in this campaign is because I've had this particular story out in PDF form forever. And I think most of my fans already got it. And that's why they're like, nah, we're waiting for the next one, buddy.
Yeah. I was specifically going to ask about that because I have absolutely seen that. And like my campaign's already funded. It's doing fine. But overall, like, I do a lot on Kickstarter, and overall, like, the money has been going down for me over Kickstarter, which is sort of my main source of income. So that's a little disturbing. And I don't know if that's like people are just tired of my stuff, if I'm putting out too much, or if that's just like an overall trend with crowdfunding. You know what I mean?
From talking to other creators, I think that is a trend. I mean, there's some crazy stories about like people who are used to like $10,000 Kickstarters doing like half that much.
Right. Yeah. We've seen everybody lose probably about 20 to 30%, somewhere in that area.
I mean, I think part of it was that there was a boost over COVID, which we just can't replicate. Over the quarantine, there was a boost on Kickstarter. I think that's part of it. Part of it is just, the economy is doing great now.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really the stuff we're seeing on our end. It's just like, but I think the main thing to do is just put out the best books you can put out and just power through. Hold on and power through, man. Just keep going, because I think it's like anything. It's a pendulum. It's going to swing back. That's how I feel about it. All right. George, what have we got?
Yes, sir. So this is my book, Russ 5377. It's a book I created. It's a character I created about 25 years ago. So this is the 25th anniversary edition of the book. What I failed to say at the beginning of the show is that this year I also managed to link up with a publisher. They're based out of the UK, which is why you got that if you were going to buy the book, it would be converted to US dollars, because they're in the UK. They publish, obviously they distribute throughout, but their main base of operation is out there. Linked up with ASAP Imagination, and they're putting the book out. I actually have a copy of the book here. It's a nice thick novel. The story is about a 17-year-old boy who lives in an orphanage sometime in the future. When he discovers that this orphanage may not be just an orphanage, he decides it's time to escape, and that's kind of where the story takes off. Him and his buddies decide to get out of there, but in the process of escaping, they start realizing more and more things about this orphanage and what it actually is. That's the story of Russ 5377, and the name, the 5377, isn't the year in which it takes place. It's actually his identification number in the orphanage in the future. So yeah, I'm excited about putting the book out with a brand new cover. I'm going to be doing some shows. Obviously, I have copies of the book here. So, if you guys want to go online, go to my website, go to this website to pick it up. I'm going to be at Plastic City Comic Con in Massachusetts. It's in a city in Massachusetts, and I will be there with the book. I will also be at Wicked Comic Con in Boston in August, so you guys can pick it up there. But yeah, that's what the story is about in a nutshell.
All right, cool. So what year is it?
I don't say. And the reason why I don't say, I told you guys this yesterday, is because I hate movies. And listen, Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies. But 2015 came and went, and there are no flying cars. There's no hoverboard. I mean, there's a version of it, but it's not the actual hoverboard that they have in the movie. So for that reason, I didn't put a name on it, so that I wouldn't have to attach myself to any of the technology in the story not coming to fruition in the year 5377.
Okay, fair enough. You could have just done what what Herbert did it, and just said it like 20,000 years in the future.
True. I mean, not that any of us will be alive in 5377, but still, I just didn't want to,
Exactly. All right, let me just show up this one last thing. I have my campaign currently running. I got a few more days left. I got 4 days left. And and this is the Oswald Chronicles. This is my time with Clive, a period of time when Oswald's in dream, and he finds himself. He runs across a baby who just happens to be an angel, and also who happens to be a cyclops and a giant, and who's enslaved by some demons. So he goes, he rescues him, and then he has some wacky adventures with him while on the path of trying to get Clive back to his parents. And like I said, they go through all these crazy adventures in dream. See, they get attacked by dragons. They end up in fields. They're attacked by all kinds of crazy monsters. He ends up, in having a dream within a dream where he encounters someone from his past, and he has to escape. And Clive helps him out with that. We have this other story with the teddy bear, which is kind of sad, but kind of fun all at the same time. And then we have a story by Daphne Lage, which includes a little girl where she's also trapped within a dream, and where Oswald is trying to walk her through it. And there you go. So it's a lot of madness. So a lot of fun. So if you're so inclined, if you like Vertigo books, if you like, Secret of Nim, all sorts of other stuff, just go check it out. Pick it up. I know. I'm terrible with selling my own stuff. So. George, you said you had a question, so but I'll let you ask it.
Oh, okay.
Unless you want me to ask something, I'll do.
No, go ahead. Ask. I'll go after you. We'll go in order.
Okay.
Well prepared host.
I know. I have 5 questions. I'm just trying to figure out which one I want to ask next. Okay, here we go. We'll go with the business question. As a creator, what are you looking to change to improve your work, both as a business and in your craft? What are you looking to improve as a creator? I think we were up to Mr. Thane.
I'm always trying to do new things. I'm always trying to be inventive with kind of the format of what a comic is. So like the choose your own adventure is kind of playing with format. I'm always trying to hide. This is maybe for more my amusement. I don't know if people even find this stuff, but I'm constantly trying to hide stories and extra content in the book in like weird places. Like I'm going to do this in the new book, but in my last book, if you look at the indicia, where you put the copyright and everything, the really small print there's like a whole short story in the small print there. And that's, I don't know if anyone's found that, but to me, it tickles me to no end to like sneak extra story in there. So I'm always like trying to add like little codes in the book and little extra things, hidden things. Yeah, which is mostly for my own amusement, but it makes me think like it's like super valuable. I'm like, oh, I'm giving them all this extra stuff that you don't even know about unless you stumble upon it, or if you're crafty enough to find it. So I'm always thinking about that. I'm always thinking about like how much more value can you add to whatever you're doing, and what can you do that catches people's attention, because it's hard to catch people's attention. Like you need to have good art, you need to have a good story. That's like a given. But I feel like you need more than that to get people like excited for what you're doing. So what can you possibly do that's beyond like good story and good art?
Okay, fair enough. Chad, what are your thoughts?
Really, I just want to be kind of develop my output of content, because I kind of have been very slow at working with like creators and everything, and getting especially like funding and everything. So that's probably the one thing that I can think of off the top of my head at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair. Fair.
I don't have a well thought out answer for that.
Well, listen, I mean, it's one of those things, but I mean, I get it does take a while to figure it out, as far as like what you want to do and how you want to do it, and getting there is a whole other issue, right? So, gotcha. Grant, what are your thoughts?
I mean, the quick answer would be everything.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, I'm not going to stop there. If I had to pick one thing, I think I agree with Chad. I would like to be able to get these comic books out quicker. And part of that is I might need to start hiring more people to help me with them. Which, I mean, especially a lot of the stuff. I letter in color because I can't afford to hire a colorist or a letterer. But one day I would like to be able to hire somebody to do that.
Okay, cool. I mean, look, I seen your coloring; it looks decent. So I mean, I don't know. I letter, so if I could color, I probably would. But but I seen how much work that is. I'm good.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. It's very, very, very time consuming, and that's time that I could be writing these comic books. And like I said, I have a document on my computer where I just write down all of my ideas, and at the rate I'm going, it's going to take me like 30 years to do all of the ideas that I have right now, and that's if I don't come up with any more ideas like in the next 30 years. So. I need to figure out a way to put these out faster.
Yeah, and you will. So, Brian, what are your thoughts?
Really, man, like this project is kind of a brand spanking new approach for us. So we're kind of testing the waters with what this hybrid illustrated prose approach to storytelling looks like, and I think in the future, I have some ideas with how we can go even more crossover with comics and prose. That's just kind of something I'm having a blast experimenting with, and just the look of the book. I think probably the person that I'm paying the most attention to right now is Chris Grimley, and just as far as how he formats his books, the relationship between the art and the prose. And a lot of his stuff, his take on Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, is really intriguing to me. So yeah, I think we might end up going that route, just like because definitely going more prose is going to get this story out quicker to people, for sure. I mean, it took JD, you know how long it took to get the first 8 issues out, and now we're putting out essentially what would have been the first 15 issues in one book now. So there's just a lot more room to tell more stories and have more fun with how the art is presented.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of creators have done it in the past. I mean, if you ever seen Drew Hayes on Poison Elves, he did a lot of that stuff. God, there's 2 or 3 other creators. I mean, there's Dave Sim. There's a guy who did Star Child. I forgot his name. And there's another creator that I also remember from back in the day where they also did a lot of prose, a lot of comic pages and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's been tried, it's been done. I used to do it. I've done it. I wanted to do more of it, but yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like it's one of those things. Like I did it because I had to, and now I prefer it as a creator.
Yeah.
So
no, I got you, man. I mean, it's interesting because prose works on a different level.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna sit there and, like you said, you get more. You can actually get into the characters' heads a little bit deeper, or actually a whole lot deeper than you can in a comic book without filling up the pages with words and words, and then just might as well write it in prose.
Right. Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Tom, what are your thoughts?
For me, I don't ever really look to reinvent the wheel. I feel like sometimes all that stuff can drag you down and slow you down in your actual book creation. There's so many people that get hung up in different types of swag and stuff, and I'm like, man, all that time spent, like, you could be just making your comic book, man. Like, get to the comic book and get it out. Doing the books faster. That's why we've shaved everything down to at most, rather, I should say, 3 weeks. Like, I don't even want to do 3 weeks anymore. I'm so tired of even 3 weeks, but it seems like that's kind of where we're at. So that's where we're going to be there. But it's just focus on the books. It's focus on the artists and making sure that, the guys that we work with understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, when it needs to be done, infrastructure building. I for the first, I don't know, so many years of my work, all my books had one artist for like 20 issues. And a lot of those guys have now moved on. They work for Marvel, DC. They're out of here. So I'm kind of at this weird crossroads of, like, these new guys have come in to do these new arcs, but I'm like, Jesus, man, I don't want to be like doing a new artist every arc. So I kind of need to be like, look, this is how we do it. Every book that we do kind of skips a year, but we want you to come back for the next arc in 8 months, 9 months, and do that. And I'm hoping that we can, arrange that with some of these guys to create that consistency again through 3 or 4 arcs at least. So that's part of what we're doing as part of our infrastructure, is just trying to maintain that. And and then from there it's expansion of what we do. Focus on the books, focus on the art, focus on the campaigns. When we get through, next year is our 15-year anniversary, so this is gonna be bad shit. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So I just want to.
How many campaigns you have planned?
I don't know, dude. It's too many. It's too many, but I don't want to do it because I'm going to be traveling too for cons. I'm like, this is going to be the worst year of my life. But it could also be amazing because when we come out the other side and we come back into 2026, we already know what that is already. We're coming right back into the Critterverse to do another volume of Critter, and we're going to be expanding the entire Critterverse, really focusing on that, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait till we can start talking about that. So yeah, it's just that it's focus on the books, make them great, get the artists, everybody on the same page, understanding that we want you guys to keep coming back. Like Carlos Reno took over for Allison Borges on Oz years ago, and we got him back, and he was like, yeah, I'm in. And so he did the most recent arc. He's doing the Oz story that we have in the BD14 anthology launching in 2 weeks. So he's doing Oz there, and he understands that we have another Oz arc coming, and we want him back again. So, that's the relationships that we're trying to build, is this consistency now. Because so many times there's like, people will get an artist for like an arc and it's great. And then they'll do another arc and it's like, oh no, like that art's that's not meeting the level. And I don't want that to ever happen with our books. So the more consistent we can be is better. And then it's just getting this stuff out in time. So like we're about to fulfill 3 Kickstarters all at the same time in the next 2 weeks. And for various reasons, we had a couple of late books, and one of them is Critter, which is basically on time. So I actually hired somebody for the first time. I'm like, look, I need you here for a few days. We're going to just crush this and have it all done in like a week, all 3 campaigns. And they were like, yeah, I'm in, let's go. So, we're going to build that up too. So if that goes well, then I'll just bring her in every time we have a campaign, and I'll be able to knock out shipping, like that once it's easy and it's just one campaign at a time. So, it's all infrastructure for us, and it's all going in the right direction at this point for the first time in a long time. It's all going in the right direction.
All right, cool. All right, before we continue, Brian, you want to jet now, or you want to hang out for a while? What's up?
I should probably go on and head out.
Right.
Sorry, guys, my husband's starting to act up pretty bad. So
no, that's cool, man. That's cool. Thank you for coming on, man. I mean, your book looks great. I'm looking forward to it. And real quick, if you want to just say where people can find you on.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, sure. Everybody head to brianrobin.com. My Kickstarter is plastered all over the front page of the website, so feel free to head there. And you can find me, all my social media. Everything's also on the homepage. So, yep, that's a one-stop shop for you.
All right, cool. So, Brian, it was great seeing you again, man.
You don't too, man.
And now that you're gonna be gone, we're gonna talk trash about you.
Oh, good. I look forward to hearing it later.
All right. Take it easy, man. Be well. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. So, George, what are your thoughts on the question?
I think that for me personally, obviously it's improving or becoming a better writer, and making sure that the quality obviously is important in everything we do in the comics we put together and stuff like that. I think one of the things that I definitely want to work on, and even when I'm collaborating with an artist, for example, is the cover of the book, and doing that, making sure that the cover is impactful, is something that's going to grab people's attention and things like that. So working and designing these kind of things. There was a quote by a graphic designer. He did work for like Newsweek and the New York Times. And I don't want to misquote him. So he basically said that a comic book, cover has to create anticipation, grab your attention, and set the stage for the story that follows. Most importantly, a comic book cover has to sell. So I think that those are the important things that especially when we're putting indie comics together, we're already behind the 8 ball because people don't care or don't know who our characters are. I think it's important that we give them something that they may say, what is this? Let me at least pick it up, because I truly believe that great art will sell you the first book, but a great story will keep them coming back, right? And so I think that working on designing a better cover and also becoming a better writer so that they do come back for the rest of the story, I think it's something that I definitely want to continue to work on and get better at.
All right, cool. Damn, I mean, the only thing I probably need to really, 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 truly improve on is my marketing. It's one of those things I have to keep talking about it, because it's just like, because I never work on it. I'll drop a campaign, and the first few days I'll go, oh yeah, I'll post every day, and I'll post every day, and every day I just keep, I posted 3 times, and then the next day it'll be 2 times, and then it'll be 1 time, and then it will be no time for a week, and then it's one of those for me. It's just like, But yeah, I think I just have to work on my marketing. It's one of the reasons why I started up my Substack. So hopefully I can start.
That's the same answer you give every year, JD.
Yeah, I know. it really is. It really is. I mean,
you say the Substack thing every year too, and
well, no, this Substack thing is new.
No, it's not. We know it's not. Admit it.
It's new, but. And the other thing is always working on my writing. So I'm always trying to improve that. Just trying to get better. It's always tough. I mean, I'm in the midst of going through the final arc of Oswald, and it's like, and I looked at one story and I was just like, nah, I got to rewrite that one. And it's just got to do what you got to do. When it doesn't meet, it got to be your own toughest critic. Right, Got to be your own toughest critic. Got to sit there and be able to sit back and be like, yeah, that could be better, and just try to make it better. You know, and then, as my friend always tells me, he's like, suck less. So and so yeah, so he would yeah. So I always take Steve's advice. He's like, suck less. I'm like, okay, I will endeavor to do that. So there you go. George, so what's your question?
All right. So I think we've all been doing this for a little while now. I guess my question is, before you started doing this, right? So what have you learned about comic, whether it's writing or drawing comics, that you didn't know before you decided to create comics? You know, like what is it that you were like, holy cow, I had no idea this is how, whether it is you write a script or wow, sequential art, damn, didn't know I was supposed to be good at that. You know what I mean? Like what is it that you learned from doing it once you started doing it?
Cool. Chad, what are your thoughts?
Well, mine, even though I don't do it, but making comics, I've learned that the little things matter. Like getting an editor, and I know that it's like, you know, a lot of people don't get an editor, or they'll get their friend that just does like spell check or like grammar and not necessarily like story consistencies and looking all of that. And that matters, and lettering matters. So it's a lot of people don't think about that when they pick up a comic book on the shelves. They don't think of, oh, the lettering is just absolutely amazing. They just read it and they're done. But when it's a crappy lettering, they can definitely tell. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned, that those little things actually matter when it comes to creating a book. So because a whole book can just, people won't look at it if the lettering is bad, especially in this type of community. So.
I mean, but as far as like consistency of story, listen, Marvel and DC have a hard time figuring out. So, you know.
Well, listen.
You're not a bad company. And as far as bad lettering goes, those first 2 or 3 issues of Miracle Man read incredibly, but that lettering is it's not the greatest. Grant, what are your thoughts?
I would say the biggest thing that I've learned is, as far as comic book writing, I think most of the writing is done between the first and the second draft. Like your first draft is stuff. You have to eliminate a lot of stuff and get it.
Yeah, you kind of fell off there, Grant. What'd you say?
I said that to me the art of it is editing, because my first draft is always like about twice as long as my second draft. So for me, one of the biggest skills is knowing what to cut out.
All right, cool. Yeah, I've always said the art is in the edit. You know, I mean, because like I said, the only book I've ever read from Stephen King, and the one part of it that I really remember is his book on writing. And the one part I remember, he's like, take that first draft and put whatever you want into it. Everything. Put it all in there, right? But be ready to cut it out in that second draft. You know, as they say, be ready to murder your darlings. That's what it is. And sometimes you just got to cut.
Yeah, Stephen King's rule is that the second draft should be 2/3 as long as the first draft, and I think it's closer to half, maybe even less. But I mean, and when we talk about Stephen King, we're talking about a guy. I mean, he probably can barely write a note to his wife saying we need milk in less than like 20 pages, right?
True.
I'm going to use that from now.
All right, cool. Thane, what are your thoughts?
I think the biggest thing I've learned doing comics is kind of like that you get to set the value of your work, like what you want to charge for it. Like, I think early on I was way undercharging for all my stuff and like making very little money because of it. And you know, of course you have to be within reason. You have to be like, oh, my floppy comic book costs $1,000 or whatever, right? You gotta be grounded somewhat. But I do think like you get to decide like what the value of your stuff is, and when I say value, like how much how much time and effort are you going to put behind it, plus production costs and yada yada. Like what money do you want to make back, and kind of factor that in. And that if people want your thing, again, within reason, people who want it will pay for it. And that's just sort of like an art thing. Like art is worth what you decide it's worth, and what people decide they want to support it for. So that's been a big lesson to me. And to not, and part of that lesson is also like placing value on what I do, you know, like my comic is worth more than the newsprint it's printed on, you know, it's worth the artistry that goes into it and the effort that goes into it. And people, again, within reason, are willing to support that. So you shouldn't, like, that's my big advice to creators out there, shouldn't undervalue what you do.
Fair enough. Are you at a point you're charging $35,000 per 11 by 17 illustration? No?
I'm getting there.
You're getting there? All right, cool. Nice. Tom, what are your thoughts?
So yeah, just like Chad said, when you start, you don't know shit. You may think you know it, you don't know shit. Even when I was actively going, I still didn't know shit. Everything was on the fly. Like my page sizes were weird, and I mean, it was just like in my first book, Penny for Your Soul, each book got progressively bigger from a page size, because I wasn't formatting the pages to, like, you know, the same every single time. It was just whatever I got sent. Oh, that's the size of the page. Okay, we send that off to the printer. So every issue got to the point where it's a little bit bigger. So like issue 7 is like a golden age size book versus like issue 1 is like a regular size book. So there's a million things that you can learn, that you have to learn to make comics. But one of the things that really I've focused on over the years, and I think I've gotten better at, is within the storytelling concept, is pacing of the story through, not just through the issue, but through like an arc of issues, and knowing sort of what the panel needs and doesn't need, moving the camera, you know, cohesively and smoothly, because sometimes all you need is someone's hand in the panel, right? But I see so many comics where like every panel is just dudes standing together. It's like, here's some dudes, here's some dudes, here's some dudes. I'm like, there's no variation here in you know, the visual of it. And I really fell into studying movies a lot, to kind of understand camera movement and so on. And that's helped me tremendously to kind of figure out how to block out scenes and so on. And so a lot of people have told me, you know, like your movies read, or your comics read like a movie. I'm like, that's good, because that was the whole point of what I was trying to do. And so I really have focused on that part of my storytelling, to try and just bring that visual. I mean, obviously the artist still has to bring that to life, but if I can give him enough, we don't do Alan Moore here, you know, we're just paragraphs of paragraphs, you know, for every panel. But if I can give him enough information to really spark what it is that I'm trying to do to take our eye through the page, and the artist has, you know, isn't just square, 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 square. Like, no, break that up, dude. Give me some curves, give me some angles, give me some tilts. You know, depending on if it's a fight scene or whatever, it can level up the entire visual of the comic. And then, dear God, please have good lettering.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. George, it's a tough question for me, man. You want me to distill down every damn mistake I've made in 40 years, and how I somewhat came up with an answer to it. Yeah, I mean, I think that probably because, all right, I started when I was 15. The biggest thing back then was figuring out just how to do it, right? Today is a little bit easier, right? Because we have, you know, I didn't have the internet. So, you know, it was just figuring out how do you get in touch with a printer? How do you reach out to distributors, right? How do you deal with them? How to incorporate a business, right? Because I did all that stuff when I was 18 years old. And I mean, you know, like I said, there was no internet. There was none of that stuff. I had to go through books and actually I read this stuff and learn. And, thank God somebody put out a book on how to print comics, how to publish comics, from Solson Comics. Gary Brodsky put out a book, and that book had laid it out for you. There's only one piece of information he didn't give me that would have helped, but I don't hold it against him because he gave me so much. But I think that we'll leave it with that because there's so much more. Because there's so much more, But it's also to what Tom said. Also, when we started out, my guys were drawing on 14 by 17 sheets, not knowing we were supposed to be doing it. And we were all in high school, and they were juniors, and then an upperclassman, a guy, someone you may know, Audrey All, comes over, and he's like, guys, you guys should really be doing that at 11 by 17s, because he was a senior at the time. He was like, we were like, oh, okay, thanks. And so you learn these things as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what book you got, but for those, if anybody is watching, Josh Blaylock from Devil's Due did a book too called "How to Self-Publish Comics, Not Just Create Them." Mm-hmm. And I've told him many times I come from the school of Josh Blaylock because that book gave me information I didn't even think to ask the questions.
Okay, I got to look that one up. Do you find it still to be relevant?
Well, I haven't seen it in a long time, and I know that he's put out some revised versions of it. It's still available. You can go on Amazon and get it. So he's still publishing it. But like I said, when I was doing it, I was like, Jesus, I didn't even think about a barcode. I didn't even think about nothing. This is like Jesus. It filled my brain with all the questions that I didn't know to ask.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, fortunately, I was even before the times before barcodes. So.
Yeah.
So George, ask your question, man.
Yeah, man, you're right. I mean, when I started this thing, like you said, the internet was, what was the internet? And so, yeah, sizing a comic book, what's the size of a comic book? 11 by 17 translates to what? Like, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff that you had to learn when you were now, trying to publish the book. But I think as far as the technical part of it and in writing a comic book, I think one of the things that I learned, obviously, is that to look at comic books are still images. They're not moving images. They're not a movie. So putting descriptions in a panel that you can't do two actions in one panel, in other words. You know what I mean? Like you can't have the whoever it is punch somebody in the face and fly off in the same panel when you're describing it in your script. That panel can't have the same thing happening. So, little things like that, which seem kind of silly, like, duh, of course not. But, you'd be surprised how many writers actually write those actions in one panel. And the artist has to kind of say, well, I got to make that another panel. So things like that, like those are the type of things that I obviously had to learn as I was creating these books. And like you said, there's plenty more, but, it's a 2-hour show and we're almost at that time. So, to go over everything that I had to learn is be ridiculous. So yeah, no, that I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Next week's show is everybody bring the list of your mistakes.
Yeah. Bring everything.
Right.
A full list. There you go. All right, cool. Well, listen, we like George just said, we made it up to hour 2. So thank you so much, guys. You guys were awesome. Brian, thank you for being here. Let's start with Chad. Chad, where can we find you and your work, sir?
You can find me tomorrow on the sidewalk passed out. No, so you can actually follow me on Twitter at Casual Nerd Chad, where I update and show whatever I'm working on currently. And also you can add me on Facebook, and I'm currently working on my Substack as well, which I probably should have started a while back. But so you'll be able to find me on that too.
All right, cool. And what's the show you do with C. Michael?
Oh, right. I do a show with C. Michael. Yeah, so that is RSVP, which stands for whatever we feel like, and it's just him and I kind of just talking about whatever's on our mind and whatever we're watching and doing nerd stuff. And then I also do Chris's show with Tom tomorrow. We will be there hanging out, and that's at 8 tomorrow.
All right, cool. Mr. Grant, where can I find you and your work, sir?
So you can find me pretty much on any social media. Type in Grant Lankard. I have a pretty distinct name. I think I'm the only Grant Lankard on any social media. But the best place to find me is comicsburg.com. If you go there and you click on free comic book, it'll take you to a page where you can sign up for my newsletter. And if you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get issue number 1 of Beowulf and a brief preview of League of Cryptids.
All right, cool. Mr. Thane, where can they find you in your work, sir?
Yeah, the best place to find me is I can point to it. ThaneBenson.com is my website. But as far as like social media goes, it's at Thane Benson. It's just my name. So I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. You just find me under at Thane Benson. Patreon too. I have a Patreon, and there is a free version of my Patreon too, so you can sign up there. I post a lot of stuff on Patreon, so it's a great place to follow what I'm up to as well. All
right, cool. Mr. Hutchison.
I forgot the question. Oh, who am I? Where am I? Right? We're on that part right now.
Yeah. Well, where can we find your sharks?
Pretty much live on Facebook, guys. If you do the social media stuff, but we're on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and all those things. I'm going to be doing a show tomorrow prior to the one with Chad and Carissa. I'm going to be talking with Lori Calcaterra, who was in here earlier. She and I are going to talk about the book she's writing for us as part of the big BDI 14 anthology. We're going to be debuting some stuff and details about that for the first time tomorrow at 7 Eastern time. And then she and I will move over to the Carissa show at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
I'm going to be excited.
Just make sure it's about feet, okay?
Yeah, there's feet in the book. I showed you the feet. There's feet in the book.
All right. I mean, it's for Lori. She's the one asking, you know?
Yeah. There's feet in the book.
All right, cool. George, where can you find you in your work, sir?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm at get_your_meds. You can go to my website, getyourmeds.com. And pick up all my stuff there. I have my books, I have t-shirts, I have all kinds of stuff. And I will be on Catch the Craze on Tuesday night. This Tuesday night, we're going live. We're going to have a guest on the show, so check that out. And then July 20th, I will be at Plastic City Comic Con in Massachusetts. So check me out there. All the information's on my website.
All right, cool. Now, you just came back from Texas, right?
Yeah, San Antonio.
Sam, how was that?
Terrible. It was terrible. It was a celebrity convention. They were charging $100 to get in, and they were charging about $300 to $400 for autographs. So nobody had money to spend on anything else.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a pretty bad show, dude. It's one of the worst.
That sucks. I mean, were you selling, or was it just Sam?
No, just Sam. Yeah, it was, I just went kind of just to hang out, you know, right. And just chill out with the guys and stuff. But yeah, man, it was just a bad show, dude. And it started with how much they were charging to get in, $100 to get into, per day.
Did they have anybody at least worthwhile?
Comic book wise, no. I mean, Arthur Adams was there. You figure they would kind of like say, "Hey, Arthur Adams is here," you know. Nope. Right. It was all about the celebrities, you know. She-Hulk was there, the lady who played She-Hulk, you know, Miss Marvel. Yeah. So it was pretty bad.
Gotcha. How many autographs did you get?
I did. Oh, and they also had free autographs. Leah Thompson was signing autographs. Peter Weller was signing autographs, but people were standing on those lines for 3 to 4 hours, so they weren't coming into the show. They were in the other building that was not in the main building. So the free signatures were there and an arcade. So kids were over there. Everybody was over there. What was the point of coming to the main show? So it was tough. It was tough.
Sorry, George. I'm going over there too. You said arcade.
I gotta invite Sam back on. I haven't spoken to him in a minute. How's he doing?
He's good, man. He's good. Yeah. He's doing his thing. He's there's an alien in my toilet. Check it out.
All right, this is true. He does have an alien in his toilet.
There he does.
All right. So thank you everybody for being here. I'm JD Calderon. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these different places. All under JD Calderon, the OswaldChronicles.com, TallTalesOnline.com. And on Kickstarter. And just remember, everybody here, fantastic creators, great creators. If you look in the links below, there are links to everybody's campaign. So you can click on those links, go buy their books. These creators all deserve your support. These are all great creators. So please go check out some comics. And just remember, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, guys.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
Thanks.